Hello, everybody. Hope everyone is well. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. I'm going to adjust a few things here. I've got a few windows that are being a little odd, so stand by. How is everybody doing tonight, today, this morning, whatever time it is for you? By the way, I'm going to alter the restream chat here to be a little better. Bear with me. We'll get it. We'll get it. I just gotta do some alterations here real quick while everyone's watching. There we go. That's what's supposed to be there. All right. How is everybody doing? Everyone, audio's okay. Mic is okay. Okay, that's good to hear. Appreciate you hitting me with that right away. It's usually what I ask. I see a lot of people piling in. That's great. I just had a little bit of time today, like an hour to chit chat. So I thought I'd jump in, just see how everybody is doing. Obviously, tomorrow is the start of IAE 2952. Very excited about that. It's Drake Day. I am a big Drake fan. Do I have my Drake coffee mug here? Nope. I have a Drake coffee mug. It's not on my desk right now. But obviously pretty excited about tomorrow. I was playing Warcraft with Ender last night, and we had a really great conversation about the future of Star Citizen, especially in relation to combat, medical, and how those things will need to manifest for the game to have any sort of balance. And I thought it was a really great conversation. I almost wish we had recorded it because I thought we went into some really interesting areas. And then I was just in a conversation in the Starjump Discord. For those of you that are not in the Starjump Discord, go check it out. Yeah, I was just in a conversation with some of the Starjump community members regarding a few things. And again, it was a good conversation. So I was just like, let's get on and chit chat a little bit today. So I've had a few. I'm looking off to other windows here, by the way. I got a few things I'm juggling. This won't be super long. I've had a couple people asking me about fleet viewer updates for the IAE. We are working on all that now, working on all the new ships, both ships that are semi-soft announced and ships that are not announced yet. I believe we have most everything except for maybe one or two, but we are actively working on that. We're working on some supporter ships that are going to get updated with a post-IAE fleet viewer update. And we might I got to talk to Starlet. I got to see if she has time to get one or two quality of life changes that I want to get into the fleet viewer in for the IAE update. But if we can, we will. So that's something I'm excited to do. I'm excited to get Fleet Viewer updated with the Corsair. Obviously, everyone knows I'm a big Corsair fan, been flying it around. Has anyone been taking it out? What's everyone's thoughts on the Corsair on the PTU? My review of it is I love it. I think it's a great ship. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think it has a few flight issues that might need to be adjusted, but otherwise, I think it's a really great ship. I think CIG did a fantastic job with it. The amount of detail they were able to get into the model is pretty impressive, especially over the concept model, which was pretty simple. And I'm going to bring that up on my other monitor here. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, stand by. Let me switch over. Yeah, so obviously the Corsair did get a few adjustments for its flight ready development. One of the big things they did was adjust the center line of the ship. I talked about this the other day. If you look at the Corsair from the top view, this is the old concept model. I'm going to bring the Corsair kind of down to this bottom bar line here. You'll notice that the center line of the cockpit is not, which is right over here, if I put the top of this lower third bar right in the middle of the cockpit, you'll know it actually doesn't go down. You'll notice it doesn't go down the center of the ship. It's actually offset a little bit. That was fixed for the flight ready ship. So the flight ready Corsair, the cockpit is centerline to the rest of the ship. So there was also some other really cool quality of life changes. One of the big things they did was add an elevator that goes almost directly into the cockpit area, so that's really great. I will give everybody a quick. You know what? Should I do this? Do you guys want a quick preview of the Fleet Viewer version, the updated version of the Corsair? Let me know if you'd like to see the updated Corsair. So that's the current one. That's the one you're seeing on screen right now. Is the hollow model version. But VMXCO has been working hard on getting some updates ready for the IAE update, and I'll give you everyone a little preview of what it looks like. It looks great, I can tell you that. Do I have the update? Let me see if I even have it. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. And it's another great moment to shout out to the Fleet Viewer team. We have a really great team, and VMXCO and Starlet. I couldn't do this without them. I do have something pretty cool to announce. Sorry, I'm just juggling here. I'm going to show you this all in just a second. I'm bringing the images over now. One cool thing we're going to do with the let me bring up my background. Stand by. One of the cool things we're going to do with the Corsair, the new one, is we're going to actually have it to where it is in both landed and non-landed wing configurations. We thought people would like that. So let's switch over and show off the new one. Well, stand by. Can I show off the new one? Okay, so the one you're currently seeing is the concept model version, and here is the new Fleet Viewer version that will come out probably Saturday. Let me shrink it down here where you can see it a little better. There it is. Looks great. We're still working on it. We're still adjusting some things. Some of our lights are a little too hot up here. We're going to pull down the temperature of some things, but pretty cool nonetheless. And again, you're going to get that in both. You're going to get that in both the landed and unlanded formats. So we're going to render it in both. It looks great. Again, it's. I'll switch back to the current hollow model version, which is that. So you can see there's definitely a difference, but those differences are reflecting, the new updated Corsair and where it's landed. And we got to do some color correction, all that stuff. We may do some of the other color variants depending on what CIG announces tomorrow for the Corsair. But it's looking great, and really excited to get this updated finally and put in the Fleet Viewer. All right, so. What else is everyone excited for? I know we have, let me go ahead and close some of my windows here. We probably, like I said, it's Drake Day tomorrow, so we're probably getting the Cutter announcement, probably getting a more formal Corsair announcement, hopefully a Corsair trailer. That would be really great. I think it deserves one. And then also figuring out, we'll find out what the price packages are for the Corsair and Cutter. Specifically on the Corsair, I'm hoping that there's a Corsair package that comes with all the paint variants that they're coming out with for IAE. I'm sure there's quite a few paint variants, so that's something I'm looking forward to. And then we do have the Cutter and stuff finished for Fleet Viewer, but we're holding off on showing those until tomorrow. Again, want to be respectful of CIG and their announcements. I don't particularly care too much about leaks. Like people leak stuff all the time. It doesn't really bother me. But in trying to be respectful to CIG and stuff. We're going to hold off showing the cutter for Fleet Viewer until tomorrow. But trust me, it looks awesome. It's going to be amazing. I'm really excited for that ship. What's everyone's Drake Day plans? Is there anyone out there that's planning on making any Drake purchases tomorrow? I'd love to hear in chat. And I will definitely be doing a stream tomorrow, Jaybird. Going full deep into the cutter. I'll show off the Fleet Viewer version, all that stuff. One other thing I wanted to announce to everyone is please don't forget, we're doing 3 episodes of Starjump Station. I already have the first one scheduled on YouTube for Saturday. We'll dual stream those to Twitter and YouTube, but we're doing 3 IAE specials. The first one will be on Saturday at 9:30 p.m., and we'll be covering Drake and Origin. And then the next one will be Tuesday of next week, whatever day that is, and we'll be covering Anvil and, whatever they announce and all the other ships in between there. And then on the 29th, I think it's the 9th day, on whatever RSI day is, which is a Saturday, that following Saturday, we're doing another Starjump Station, and that one will be covering all the remaining manufacturers up to that point, and hopefully RSI's big announcement, which if you haven't been in tune with a lot of the leaks that are going on, RSI is probably going to have a pretty big announcement, so we'll be covering that and possibly showing off some Fleet Viewer assets for that. Yeah, Alan, it's funny you bring that up. I did not get to see the Vulture at when did they show it off last time? Was it CitizenCon or something that they showed off the Vulture? What was the last event? I forget. Either way, the last event that they showed where the Vulture was on the show floor, I didn't get to see it because I was traveling. So I'm actually really excited tomorrow to see the Vulture in game. Even though we won't be able to fly it, I'm excited to check it out and look at it in person. It's always cool that first moment you see a big ship, right? So. Zawesh says, I'm hoping to buy a Kraken tomorrow if I'm quick enough in the F5 wars. Good luck. Really hope that happens for you. I think it was the, what was it? I think it was it IAE or Invictus? No, it was Invictus. I'm pretty sure it was the Invictus of, 2020, is when I secured my Kraken. I got the base model. Don't regret it. I mean, I know I'm not going to get it for a long time, but I'm happy waiting. I think the Kraken is still going to be one of the best emergent and multi-purpose ships in the entire game for an orc, 100%. 1 second here. My wife is messaging me. But I wish you luck. It's funny you bring up mortgage, Jaybird. The reason I got a Kraken was that I sold a house and kind of came into a little windfall of money at that time. So me and my wife both made a deal that we would each buy something completely, ridiculous, and she got her something, and I ended up getting a Kraken and Star Citizen. Shimpasta, no, the Kraken doesn't have any modules. It has another variant, which is known as the Kraken Privateer. It is considered a hull variant, though, not a module variant. And essentially, what that means is that the changes to the hull are big enough that it requires it to be a separate ship. However, one cool thing is CIG has stated that with the Kraken and the Kraken Privateer in the future, you're going to be able to take them to large shipyards, like probably on Orison, and you'll be able to take the ships to Orison and pay probably a very exorbitant fee, and you have to leave your ship in space dock or whatever for a certain amount of time. Maybe it's a week or whatever, but it will be able to be switched from the Kraken to the Privateer or back again. You're just going to have to incur the costs and wait for the wait. Strat, no, hey Strat, hope you're well, buddy. No, my wife did not get an injury. She does not play Star Citizen and really doesn't play any games. She got a Peloton bike for spin classes and stuff. So, hey, it's VMXEO. Hope you're well, VM. Really great to see you, everyone. I just shouted you out a minute ago, VM, about your work on, all the work you're doing for Fleet Viewer and all the updates for IAE, and how you are so awesome that you are making a both landed and non-landed version of the Corsair. It's really awesome. Uh, there's Starlet. Hey, Starlet, hope you're well. Salute to you. Both the Fleet Viewer crew are in the chat today, both Starlet and VMXEO. Nice to see you both. Hope you're well. Yeah, so I had shouted both of you out earlier in the stream, just saying thank you for all the hard work both of you do to keep up Fleet Viewer for the community. There's times where we're really into Star Citizen, times where we're not into Star Citizen, but it's a project we want to keep up and keep updated and working well for the community. And both VMXEO and, of course, Starlet have just done an incredible amount of work. So big thanks there. Yeah, so we're going to be pushing out Fleet Viewer updates throughout IAE. I got to talk to Starlet, figure out what her schedule is. If we can get out the Drake updates this weekend, we will. It might not be big of a deal since we're just replacing a ship and adding one new one. But if we don't do that, then we might just wait to do a bigger IAE update, probably on RSI Day, which is the last day of the event. But don't be too concerned. We will update Fleet Viewer with all the ships. Like I said, we're already working on them. So, one thing I will say though is that we will not be updating ships on Fleet Viewer until we won't be updating a particular ship on Fleet Viewer until CIG announces that ship formally. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, we want to be respectful to CIG because they've been really respectful of us and really supportive with us with Fleet Viewer. So we're going to respect that and relationship and not, put any ships out there that are not out there yet. So. That being said, we are working on some supporter ships. I've shown some of those off in the past. One of the supporter ships that I'm currently working on is this Genesis for Soul Citizen. Soul Citizen's been a great supporter of Starjump, but also has helped me out on several technical things, and just generally really great, awesome, nice people. I think they're some of those people out in the verse that really, they're content creators that to me strike a perfect balance between staying excited for Star Citizen and trying to pump the community up, but at the same times they critique Star Citizen when they need to, and they turn the binoculars backwards sometimes and really scope out what's going on in the game, the community yet, and seeing where maybe improvements can be made. So I love that balance. I love that balance of where a content creator can be positive about the game and inject that positivity, but also is okay with being a little critical sometimes and making sure that we're looking at the game with a critical eye and giving constructive criticism, because if we give constructive criticism, that will lead to a better game. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be no criticism of Star Citizen. I just want to make that very clear. Even though, I've talked with people at CIG many times. I'm very I admire their work. At the end of the day, we have to criticize the game when certain things are being done that we don't like, so that hopefully and changes can be made. So, let's see here. Bearded Guy says, "Do you have a Galaxy model yet? I need it for my fleet pick." Yes, I'll just say I'm working on it, Bearded Guy. I have it, working on it, trying to make it pretty. Johnny Cash, Corsair 12 forward-facing guns. Kills the most ships in 8 seconds. So how am CIG nerfed? Hey, so this is funny, Johnny. So we were talking about this in chat a little bit ago on our Discord, and this is what I'll say. Definitely don't buy any of these ships for what they do now. It's just so many systems are not in the game for ships, just ships alone, that all their numbers right now are completely just placeholder. We're still missing two key things with ships. Both one of those is armor, and the other one is breakability. However, and I'm going to switch to standby here because I am going to switch gears. I'm going to bring up the progress tracker. Where's my standby, everybody? Everyone knows I'm slow. Everyone knows I'm slow. Let's go to, where's my standby, everybody? Standby. Yeah, so let's go into development. So we are missing, yes, we're missing PES, but we're specifically with ships, we're missing armor and breakability. So one of the things with breakability, let's go to it right here. Physical damage and breakability. You see it's been worked on for a long time, 99 weeks, and it's actually coming to a close here in December. I'm going to go ahead and read its description here. Making the use of the physics engines to create a system that looks, which is just visual, but very important here, behaves realistically when large objects such as ships are damaged by weaponry or colliding with other ships, locations, or planets. So this is a huge one. And then also we have armor, which I don't, is armor on the progress tracker? Armor may be tied in with breakability, by the way. But regardless, we are missing that. We are missing breakability, we're missing armor, and then we're also missing just engineering repair gameplay, which is going to, along with soft death, is going to allow us to be repairing ships as they're getting damaged, right? So ships, the time to kill ratio on ships is going to be all over the place. So don't worry too much about how powerful or not powerful a ship is right now. It's completely placeholder. Let's see here. Zawesh says, Graham, I'm curious, do you think we will get a capital concept anytime soon? That's interesting question, Zawesh, and I hopefully, or am I saying your name right? Zalsi? Hopefully I'm saying that right. That's a great question, because I do think personally, and I could definitely be wrong about this, I think we're done with seeing ships with high crew counts. Now, that sort of filters into capital ships, right? But I do think we're done seeing ships with like 16-person crew counts. I think the Polaris currently has a max crew count set at 14. I don't personally, I think that's going to get revised, especially if they show us the Polaris anytime soon. I know we have the ship team doing a show with Jared tomorrow, and if they do show off the Polaris internal reconcept, I wouldn't be surprised if John Cruz says the crew count is being revised. What I think we are seeing here with both the Perseus, the Odyssey, all that, is we're seeing a shift away from large crew counts. I think a lot of that has to do with how server meshing has they've started to figure that out. So I think that's dictated that crew counts are going to have to come down. I think they're going to lean heavily on computer blades. I think we're going to hear more about that, hopefully soon, maybe after server meshing is out, because I think they're going to have to lean on those, because I think these ultra high crew count ships aren't going to work anymore. So when you say, are there going to be any more capital concepts? I think there will be more capital concepts, but I think the crew requirements for them are going to be a lot lower. And I also think CIG is sort of starting to think of ships in the 125 to 150 meter range as being capital ships, capital size ships. And maybe they are, I don't know, but I think CIG is starting to think that way, both with the Odyssey, the Liberator, I think fall into that category pretty well. I think they even called the Liberator a capital ship for a while there when it was out. Maybe they still are. Hey, Kavotha, hope you're well. Salute to you. And everyone, thank you for popping in. Please like, subscribe, follow, all the stuff for both YouTube and Twitter. I really appreciate it. But I do think with capital ships, though, at the very least, we've seen the end of large crew counts. If your question specifically is, do you think we're going to see another Kraken or a ship comparably sized? I don't think we're going to see any new concepts at size. I could totally be wrong, but I don't think the size matters so much to CIG. It's more the crew counts. I think the Banu Merchantman sort of. Well, I think the Banu Merchantman sort of, backs that up, right? The BMM has grown, obviously, pretty huge. Internal metrics through the game files are showing it at about 239 meters, although CIG's never confirmed that. I just want to put that out there. But the Banu Merchantman also doesn't have as high a crew count, though, as an Idris. What I do think we've seen the end of is any Idris and Javelin-sized ships with that high of crew counts. I think that's over. I really do. Tankstar, I think the Kraken is actually referred to as a light carrier or a light attack carrier, which kind of the same as small carrier. But big carriers are like fleet carriers, right? Like the Bengal and stuff. So I think there's plenty of room for more light carriers. Could they make a larger carrier? Sure, they could. They could make something a little bit under Javelin. I do believe John Crew, when he says the Javelin is still planned on being the largest player-owned ship. The Javelin is 480 meters long. I actually don't think CIG is going to make any ships over that. I know some people speculated the Endeavor is going to be super big and stuff. I don't think that's the case at all. Sorry if I missed any posts as well. Via Nocturne, salute to you. Hope you're well. I know Starlet, who I believe is in chat, has Javelins, and I think that is still going to be the monster of the verse, 100%. Let's see here. If it wasn't so directionally handicapped, the Auroras might have been in some trouble, but as they now ran circles around the Corsair. Okay, yep. Bunkerfist says, no way the Endeavor is getting that big, even if it's 2 to 3 times the size. It won't be close to Jeff. Yeah, I mean, the Endeavor right now is listed at 200 meters. It is too small for what they're currently scoping, but I did a lot of remetricing with that ship on my own, just using current NPC walkway widths and all that, and using the Odyssey and a couple other things is like guardrails for it. I was able to get the Endeavor to be 300 meters and still be plenty big for everything it needs. I actually still think the Endeavor could be the 250 meter mark. I don't think it needs to be as big as everyone thinks. All it really needs is, I mean, the front part of the ship is really just a large shuttle. And then it's got a long superstructure spine that goes down that holds modules. There's nothing dictating from a gameplay standpoint that has to be big. The only thing that people really have to go on for the Endeavor with size is the hangar module, which there's been some discrepancy about, how many ship sets can hold. I know it was originally scoped to hold 2 Cuddy Reds, and the Cuddy Reds grew. But here's the thing. The hangar module could be redesigned to be a longer tube-like structure underneath the belly of the Endeavor, or underneath the Endeavor superstructure. It wouldn't affect the overall length of the Endeavor, but would easily then be able to hold 2 Cuddy Reds. They could also completely redesign that, but I don't think there's any reason to make the Endeavor massive just because of that. And I don't think CIG is going to let one module dictate the size of the Endeavor. I think they'll design around that. Bearded Steel Mary, hope you're well. Salute to you. Actually, since everyone's on, I'll give you a little update. I am still working on my Carrack. I haven't made any progress in a little bit, but here's my Carrack currently in production, being worked on. Paint is done. I got all the other little parts painted. I'm currently doing some lighting work to it. Going to get the lights working on the inside. But yeah, it's coming along pretty awesome. I got to do some weathering to it and some other things. But so what else do we have? So yeah, like I said, I hope everyone can turn out for our IAE special episodes. We're going to deep dive some of those ships in a really cool way, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Going to have VMXEO on the show. Obviously, Starjump Ender will be there. Starlet may not pop in. We'll see, but regardless, it'll be a fun week. Or a fun Saturday as we kind of get IAE started. So it's hard to believe IAE starts tomorrow. Let's see here. Bearded Guy says outside of CIG users, Starjump probably have the best idea of coming shop viability and changes, having made the models for them all. Well, I'll tell you this, Bearded. I mean, because of Fleet Viewer, I have spent an inordinate amount of time diving into these ships and kind of figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I'll show you real quick here. Let me pop over to stand by here. Let me bring up. I'm looking for something here. Bear with me. Is this it? Yeah. Yeah, I'll bring this video up. This was us looking at the overall size of the Endeavor here. You'll see the current Cuddy Red doesn't really fit in the current metric for the hangar module. So what I did was I scaled the ship up quite a bit, and I scaled it up to the point to where you could hold two Cuddy Reds side by side, right? Or at least one comfortably here, and you'll see that. Giving you enough room to maneuver, enough room to repair the ship, etc. And I think here in a second we'll get to what that current metric is. So see, you're going to need room to turn ships around and all that too. You can't just have it wall to wall with the ship. The hangar's got to increase enough that you have enough maneuverability there. Now, one thing with this is at this size, you could squeeze two Reds in there, but it's awfully tight. You technically could do it though. This still is not the best use of a hangar design for me though. What I think the better thing to do would be to lose that hangar design and do more of a kind of tubular hangar that's like a pass-through hangar, right? As a full pass-through. And with a full pass-through, you could then fit ships like two Cuddy Reds, right? You could back those up into each other, and then you could also do the an Apollo, because an Apollo could just use the pass through, right? And as a matter of fact, do I have? I'm trying to see if I have. Maybe I don't. Yeah. So you'll see there. So to get to this size here, I think I had to get to. Do I bring up the actual scale? I forget. That's what the scale would be if I brought it up. So still shorter than a Javelin, but still pretty big. But again, that's only scaling the Endeavor up to kind of get the hangar to work. But there's a lot of ways I think you could get this hangar to work. You could even go with decks like the Kraken has that are mounted under or on top of the Endeavor in some way. I still think there's a lot of ways to sort of skin that cat, and I don't. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, I agree. I think some sort of pass through makes sense. Because again, you can then fit an Apollo really comfortably in there. I personally think that's the way they should go. Yeah, I really do. All right, here. Let me close this. What else have we got here? I also sent some infos about custom decals. Hey, appreciate it, Drake. Steel Mary. Yep. Custom decals would be cool. I'm going to do the decals at some point. I think that is a place where I'm definitely going to want to watch some how-tos and some best practices. So let's see here. Yeah, Jay Bird, I'm hoping to get it finished soon as well. Going slow on it. I don't want to mess it up. So G Sharp, currently the Apollo, I will bring it up real quick here. The Apollo is not as large as everyone thinks. However, I do think that will be adjusted at some point. I know the ship went through or was going through some reconcepting. Let me pop that. So currently the Apollo is listed at 43 meters. So it's not the biggest ship in the world. Especially when you compare that to that's going to be about, I think the new measurement for the Corsair is like 53 meters. So it's so 53. So the Apollo's currently concept spec it's 10 meters shorter than the Corsair. So the Apollo is not a huge ship. However, I do think the Apollo needs to grow. I think the Apollo needs to turn into about a 60-meter long ship. I think it needs to be bumped up a little bit to give them enough room between whatever this new Pisces medical ship is to the Cuddy Red to the Apollo and then to whatever other medical ships there will be eventually, right? Yes, thank you, Jay Bird. Really appreciate it. Yes, please hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already. I'm assuming most of you do, which we really appreciate. We are trying to get our subscriber numbers up on YouTube. We really been kind of stalled for a while. I think a lot of that has to do that I just haven't gotten a new cinematic out. I diverted from the cinematic work because I wanted to get Fleet Viewer out to everybody. But now that Fleet Viewer is out, I have turned my attention back to cinematics. I am working on one now. It's going pretty well. I've been blocking shots out in Cinema 4D and starting to get certain action scenes worked out. I've already sort of landed on a length. I think it's going to be about 4 minutes long. And it's going to feature, instead of featuring just a single manufacturer and then all that manufacturer ships, I'm going to focus on a bunch of ships that, hey, thank you very much, Elfwin, for that subscription. Appreciate it. But the new cinematic is going to focus on ships that are either brand new or ships that I haven't really given any love for in the past. So, yeah. G Sharp, are you talking about the Corsair? I'm assuming you are. Yes, you're going to be able to spawn either the Corsair with its wings out or its wings folded up. That is correct. Let's see. Past Rider, thank you very much for that subscribe. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Salute to you. Again, thanks for all that support, everyone. I'm also trying to get those Twitch numbers up. I don't, I don't do Twitch as much as everyone else, but I am starting to stream a lot more. And with 318 coming on board and Salvage and Cargo Refactor, you're going to see me streaming weekly now again. Going to get back to weekly streaming. So definitely trying to get my Twitch numbers up. So even those of you watching on YouTube, if you want to sling over to the Twitch, at least give me a follow. That would be really helpful. I really appreciate that support. I'm not one of those creators or streamers that's out there every day waving my hands wildly, but I do appreciate it. Oh, Elfwin, thank you so much, man. Gave out 10 community sub gifts. Thank you so much, Elfwin. Big salute to you. Thank you very much for that support. That is really awesome. That is really awesome. Thank you so much. Again, it's community members like that that really help out both Starjump as a whole, as well as us individually within Starjump. Myself, of course, Starjump Ender, there's Starlet, VMXCO. We all appreciate your support and your kind words. That's really, really cool. We all genuinely do work really hard to bring something new and create a good community here. So thank you very much, Elfwin. That is awesome. Very, very cool of you. Thank you so much. Okay, cool. So what else to talk about here before I bounce off and get back to my day job? I'm supposed to be working right now, by the way, but I popped off for a little bit to talk to you all. One thing I was going to say is for those of you that follow Starjump, you'll probably know that I, for a while there was streaming and then I kind of stopped and stuff like that. And a big part of that was just that I play Star Citizen when the game is playing the right way for me, working the right way for me. And I was going through just a few periods of where the patches weren't interesting, the gameplay wasn't there. But a big part of that was that I was waiting for a few things. I'm really interested in salvage gameplay, but I'm also actually interested in getting back into mining gameplay. So I've sort of decided that when 3.18 launches in early December, I'm going to get back into streaming weekly. Probably going to do 2 nights a week streaming Star Citizen. I'll probably be focusing on mining, salvage, and cargo running, and then whatever shenanigans I can get up to. Believe it or not, I do play Star Citizen, obviously. I'm a big Star Citizen fan. I actually got Ender into Star Citizen, although he streams it a lot more than me. My attention's just really been focused on Starjump Fleet Viewer and the cinematics for a while. You know what I mean? So, but now it's time to kind of get back into Star Citizen, so I'm excited about it. I'm really excited for salvage gameplay. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Mooncat says, is racing going to reel you in? So I love racing games, Mooncat. I don't have any racing ships, and I never really thought about racing in Star Citizen. It didn't have like an interest for me, with the exception that I was interested in like observing races. I hope they do some cool way for us to observe them. However, the last IAC where they showed all the racetracks, I am kind of interested in it now, so I may get into it. I do love racing games. I love Forza. I love Gran Turismo. I love all that stuff. I'm really excited for Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, which is coming out next year. So yeah, I think it may reel me in actually. Let's see here. And here's the other thing too. One of our Starjump members, Starlet, who does a lot of heavy lifting on Fleet Viewer. Starlet's kind of a little bit on sabbatical from Star Citizen. They announced some stuff in relation to some of the server meshing tech and stuff that kind of turned her away from the game a little bit, but I think that's a good thing to be able to step away from the game for a little bit and focus on something else for a little bit. Star Citizen isn't going anywhere. Our hangars aren't going anywhere. I mean, it's not like next week, we all start on version 1 beta. We still got a long way to go. So I think it's totally fine to step away from a bit and sort of reassess, play other games. I'm currently playing a lot of Warcraft because I'm excited for the Dragonflight expansion. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a healthy thing. So you may see that from time to time with me. I love playing Arma 3. I love playing Warcraft. I love playing golf with friends. I love playing Phasmophobia. So you're still going to keep seeing that. I know Ender loves playing, he's playing God of War right now. He's a big Assassin's Creed fan. There's a lot of games that Ender likes to play. So you're going to see that from time to time. And sometimes, we may be streaming Star Citizen. Our numbers may be up, and then we'll switch over to Phasmophobia and the numbers drop off the stream. And that's okay. We've talked about that before, and we take that as it is. It's not about numbers for us. It's just about having a good time. Not every game we play is going to appeal to everyone. So, Jenkins says, thoughts on Piracy in 3.18. So going back to okay, Kitten, how are you? Kitten Bum in chat. Big salute to you. Hope you're well. Jenkins, going back to your comment, thoughts on Piracy in 3.18. So me and Ender were talking a lot about this last night. So I am currently frustrated with the PvP and combat flight meta narrative that's currently going on in Star Citizen. One of the big things I worry about with that, especially with content creators that do a lot of PvP and combat and all that stuff, is I am concerned that they're sort of putting out there and pulling in all these new players based off that combat experience, when that, according to everything CIG has told us, is not how combat, depth of a spaceman, all that stuff, it's not how it's going to work in the future. So I do get a little worried sometimes that all these people are being brought in under this current idea of how that works, when that's actually not how it's going to be at all, and it's actually going to be a lot more laborious to be a combat pilot. And then it's going to turn those players off when those changes do come. However, I do support PvP. I want it to be in the game. I think piracy should be in the game. And all that. So with 3.18 specifically, I think piracy is going to turn into an interesting profession at that point. But everything in Star Citizen needs the counterbalance for that system to truly work. And I think piracy is going to get a big boon on like generally harassing players and maybe stealing some loot. But where I think the full piracy experience is going to fall short is the cargo pilots still don't have a lot of ways to min and max profit based off how they do the mission, whether it's commodity mission, box mission, large cargo mission, or whatever, whether investing their own money or not their own money. Fleet organized gameplay, being able to pay protectors, not with just sending them money on your MoTrader app, but being able to stipend a percentage of the profit in advance for them, all that stuff. We need that for the piracy to balance out. So it may be for 318 that piracy is, a completely lawless venture where everyone's having fun and going crazy. That's probably okay. So CIG can test the extremes of that environment. But we all need these balancing gameplay factors to come in to give us a true sense of what the gameplay is going to be like for that particular feature. Specifically with combat pilots, especially PvP pilots, when we get Death of a Spaceman in and you have limited number of revives, even if that limited number of revives is 150 revives, you know what I mean? Even with getting cybernetics and all that, how many times are combat pilots going to be able to risk blowing themselves up? Even good combat pilots. And at which point then are they going to then have to work harder to fly with a squadron or this and that, or really gauge who they come into contact with? And then that then starts to filter into reputation and how personal reputation is in the game. How is a combat pilot supposed to know he's going up against someone or she's going up against someone that's vastly superior to them in skill set? So there's a lot of subsystems that need to come into the game, in my personal opinion, to help balance all this shit out. So I think 318 is going to be kind of a wild ride. We'll see how it shakes out. I do fully think, though, that CIG will balance the hauling. I think hauling, large cargo hauling, I'm talking hull C-size cargo, okay? So let's say 4,000 SCU of cargo. CIG is going to make the profit so good on that. This is what I think based off what they've said. I think CIG is going to make the profit so good on that you're going to be able to easily hire multiple friends to fly with you and just give them just be like, hey, here's 300,000 credits. I think they're going to be able to hire them with plenty of profit to spare to make those runs. I think that's what CIG was sort of hinting at with that AMA from the other day. I agree, Jink, and I do think there needs to be a renewed talk about the economy and Star Citizen and where they're currently at with that, how that ties into server meshing and persistent entity streaming, all that kind of good stuff. When are we going to get the rest of Quantum in so that we can start seeing and, more importantly, testing what the economy will be like? 100% agree. Bingo says, what do you think will be on ISC today? So I think is ISC, they're going over Drake stuff. So I think we're going to hear about the Cutter and about the Corsair. That's what I think. So be excited to see that. Possibly 600i rework either today or tomorrow. I know the ship team will be on the live stream tomorrow with Jared, so I think they're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. Still keeping my fingers crossed that we see the Polaris interior rework. They didn't promise it, but I hope it's coming. Everyone, I do got to get to work. I had a fantastic turnout tonight, or today, sorry. It was so awesome. Everyone came and hung out. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Again, I know I don't stream daily, but I really appreciate your support. Everyone is always awesome to not only myself, but the rest of the Starjump people. Starjump, Starlet, and VMXEO, if you were still in chat, I give you one big old salute. Thank you for helping me with Fleet Viewers. We update it for IAE this week. And Elfwin, thank you so much for all those gift subs you gave. That was incredible. I really appreciate that. Mr. Hobby and everyone else who followed and subscribed, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Salute to you all. I will definitely 100% be streaming almost all day tomorrow. So I'll be streaming almost all throughout the day tomorrow, showing off Fleet Viewer updates for the Cutter and the Corsair. I'll be flying my Corsair in the verse, probably doing some stuff as well as reviewing some stuff in anticipation for our IE, which will be on Saturday. Our Starjump Station IE special, which will be on Saturday. So until then, thank you, everyone. I'll see you soon. Have a great, great day, and let's all get